What I imagine most students did at this point was jump right in there. Let's take it to the questions. And as any of you who have practiced for the LSAT know, that can be a fatal mistake. And the questions here is probably why it took people 15-20 minutes to get through a game like this. There is a big deduction, but it's hard to see. But always force yourself to take a little bit extra time to look for it. Here it actually has to do with who can be Mauve. Now, a lot of people sense that the Mauve was guiding a lot of things as you go through the questions, but if you really think about it, let's see if we can put our finger on the deduction here. Now, it doesn't look like it, but we actually know of a lot of dinosaurs at this point that cannot be Mauve. So let's start a little list. What do you say? So here's our Mauve or not to Mauve. Now, Stegosaur's out, because Stegosaur is red, so let's say Stegosaur can't be Mauve. Now looking at our other rules, we can actually knock out a few other possibilities, because if the Iguanosaur is in there, it's got to be green, so it can't be Mauve. And if the Platysaur is in there, it's got to be yellow, so it can't be Mauve either. So next on our list for dinosaurs that can't be Mauve are both I and P. So I is a no-go, and P is a no-go. And we're starting to rack them up a little bit here, but there's more. Also, in this last rule down here, it says that if I have both L and U, then at least one of them can't be Mauve. So now this is hard to visualize, but essentially what you can take out of that deduction is that it's impossible for both L and U to be Mauve, or in other words, at least one of them, either L or U, cannot be Mauve. So here's the big moment. What we just did is we ruled out 4 possibilities for the Mauve dinosaurs, and you'll know we have to take 2 of them. So we knocked out 4. Now granted, this isn't the funnest thing in the world, but at least it does knock out another one of our options. If you think about it, we only had 7 to start with, so knock out those 4. That leaves us with a whopping 3 and only 3 options for our Mauve dinosaurs. And by my count, just check off the ones that we've X'd out. That leaves us with Tyrannosaur, Velociraptor, and then the other one of the L and U over there, so one of either L or U. Surprise, surprise, that is actually the big deduction in our Mauve dinosaur game. Now let's make sure that I'm framing this in the right way so you know how this is actually going to be used. We have 7 dinosaurs to choose from, and I have to take 2 Mauve dinosaurs. Well, it's not great because I don't know exactly what my Mauve dinosaurs are going to be, but I have to take 2 of this set of 3. So there aren't too many ways to do that, and as long as you keep that in mind, that I have to take 2 of these 3, then that actually is going to save you a lot of times going through the questions. In addition to that, we also know that you can't have both V and U, so that knocks out some of the possibilities here. So if you're visualizing, basically what we got is you take T and V, which could work, or you could take T with one or the other of L or U, or you could take V with one of them, but V can't be with U, so it would have to be V and L. Now, if you take this one step further, that is the true ninja way through a game like this, but even if you just got this big deduction, you were probably okay. Now, if you want to take it that extra step, here's how we can use that deduction. So it's not that fun because you know you got 2 of those 3 that have to be your Mauve dinosaurs, but that does only leave open a few possibilities, and namely, I would advise making 3 different scenarios here. Remember, you have T, V, and either U or L, but it's just one of U or L. So you could basically do T and V would be your 2 Mauve dinosaurs, or you could have T with one or the other of U and L, or you could have V, but of course V doesn't like U, so it would have to be V and L. Now you'll see that none of those lead to too many other deductions, but if you think about it, we actually have a much better handle on the game. In the first one, we have T and V, which are our Mauve dinosaurs, and that forces U into our out group over here. And then what we have left are P, I, and L, and I have to take 2 of the 3 of those to fill these 2 spots. And of course, P and I already know what color those would be, so that won't be too tough. In the second one, I take 2 with either U or L, so this is probably not the most helpful one, but again, I only have those 2 spots. In that second one, I still have to keep in mind that you can't have U and V together, which means again, I'm going to have at least one of P or I in here. And then in the bottom one, similar to the first situation, I take V with L, which forces U out there. And then again, I only have 3 left in here, which would be P, I, and T to choose from, and I know what colors those are. So the big thing here was to make that deduction about the Mauve dinosaurs and then use that to figure out how the Mauve dinosaurs can actually shake out. To recap, before we run through the questions, here's the big thing. This game is difficult because it is a very effective example of LSAT misdirection. They get you thinking that certain things are important and you miss what really is important. In this game, it's all mauve. It's mauve, mauve, and more mauve. All about the mauveness of the dinosaurs. I don't think that's a real word. But if you just really keep your eye on it, let's look through the rules real quick. What a lot of people think is, well, they're like, well, they only gave me this rule about mauve and the last rule about mauve, but all of the rules were indirectly about mauve to point you in the direction of that deduction. When they tell me that the iguanosaur has to be green and the platysaur has to be yellow, that's not really important. The reason why that is important is because if it's got to be green and this one's got to be yellow, it means they can't be mauve. And them telling me that I got a stegosaur that's red, everybody gets all excited about that, but all that really means in terms of the import for this game is just that it can't be mauve. So you gotta really try to focus on what is important. Here it's just realizing that your set of dinosaurs that could fill those 2 mauve spots is shrinking slowly with every single rule. The first question here is number 12, and you know you are tackling a bitch of a game if doing the first question, which is what we call an elimination question, actually requires some of the deductions that you've made. Normally you just run through the rules, knock out the 4 wrong ones, and you're in good shape, but here they make it a little bit more complicated for you. Now a few of these go away quickly. First we know we need a stegosaur. Go stegosaur. And down in answer choice D, they don't even give you a stegosaur. We'll get that out of there. Then we know that you cannot have both Velociraptor and the Ultrasaur. Of course, we forgot about that one. And in 2 different answer choices, both answer choice A and answer choice E, they give you both of those. So those are out as well. But then you get stuck. B looks good, C looks good, B looks better, C looks better. Uh-oh. And I would imagine a lot of people wasted a few minutes here actually trying them out. Remember though, we did make our deduction about the Mauve dinosaurs. You always have to have, since you're taking 2 of those 3, I always need either T or V or both of them. So look through those answer choices and you always have to have either the Tyrannosaur or the Velociraptor. And if you look at answer choice C, they give you neither one. Well, there's no way both of those could be out because then you wouldn't have any dinosaurs to be mauve. So that actually knocks out answer choice C and we're only left with B, which is our moneymaker. Up next is question number 13. If the Tyrannosaur is not included in the display, then each of the following must be included except. So we know we're gonna have to make lots of deductions here about the dinosaurs that are in the display. We have to find one that is not necessarily included. Now, if you look, here's why this is also helpful. They say Tyrannosaur is out. And if you look through your scenarios, I got Tyrannosaur, so scenario 1, not happening. Scenario 2, even worse. So we know that the only time this can actually happen is down here, and we've already done all the work. Now I filled this in already, but if we throw Tyrannosaur out, what that does is it forces both of my 2 wild cards, P and I, in my in group, and of course I already know what colors those are. P's got to be yellow and I's got to be green. So looking through the answer choices, this is the only situation where Tyrannosaur can be out, and 4 of those answer choices, aka the wrong ones, give you dinosaurs that we now know are included in the display. The one answer choice that isn't going to work here is answer choice D, which says a Mauve Ultrasaur, and even though that sounds really cool to me, Ultrasaur is out, so definitely not included in the display, so our answer is D.